part starts, and we see that Ning Tian has thrown Chang on the ground. And he is speaking to his disciples. I purposely left his legs so he could kneel and pay respects to the deceased. You handle the rest. And everyone is surprised to see Chang, and one of the disciples says, Chang de, Taozi, fellow disciples who died unjustly. And another disciple says, I will avenge you 100-fold, 1,000-fold. Then another disciple says, that's right, the disciples of the heavenly demonic sect are not that easy to kill. And Chang's condition has become very bad. Ning Tian has beaten him very badly. And so he is apologizing to all of them, and he is also saying, don't come closer. But Ning Tian does not listen to him. And we see that Ning Tian has killed him, tied a rope around his neck and hung him. Then the first disciple said to Ning Tian, I was feeling a bit down, so I took a casual walk and dealt with this guy along the way. So Ning Tian says, rest assured, the Beast Tamer sect people have been dealt with as well. You wiped out the entire Beast Tamer sect by yourself? And after listening to Ning Tian, the disciple says, Patriarch, did you just go to deal with Yiling? And the other disciple says, and you came back without a scratch. And then Ning Tian gets a notification from the system, and the system says to Ning Tian, you shocked Li Changde and others, rewarded with 5,000 aura cultivation. And we see that Ning Tian's aura starts increasing. Ning Tian is saying this feeling. Am I about to break through? And the system further says, congratulations, the host has broken through to the 4-star Earth King realm. And all the disciples are shocked that Ning Tian's power is increasing so much. And they are saying, ordinary people would be somewhat depleted of their spiritual energy after a fight, but the Patriarch has broken through again. As expected of the Patriarch. Awesome. Then Ning Tian says, now that things are settled here, let's head back. And everyone says yes to Ning Tian. But then an earthquake starts at that place, and Ning Tian is surprised to see this. And he is saying, no, this commotion. It's a beast tide. And on hearing this the disciple says, another beast tide? But wasn't the Beast Tamer sect dealt with by the Patriarch? And Ning Tian is saying, the Heavenly Wind City just regained its peace, if we encounter another beast tide. Heavenly Wind City just regained its peace, if we encounter another beast tide. Changsheng, come with me to investigate. The rest of the disciples stay here. And all the disciples agree with him. After this the scene shifts and we see Dark Wind Mountain Range. And Ning Tian and the disciple are moving forward. And the disciple is saying to Ning Tian, Patriarch, I've heard that the demonic beasts of the Dark Wind Mountain Range usually appear at night. It's strange for them to appear now. And as they both move forward, there are many beasts in front of them, seeing whom Ning Tian says that those people are there. And we see that many beasts are moving towards Ning Tian and his disciples. And Ning Tian has taken out his music instrument, and the disciple is saying to Ning Tian, Patriarch, the beast tide is huge. Just the two of us might be overestimating our abilities to kill them all. And as soon as Ning Tian plays the music, the disciple is surprised to hear his voice, and he is thinking, the Beast Tamer sect's beast taming technique? Sword Dao, music Dao, and now the beast taming Dao too? Is the Patriarch really going to master all 3,000 Daos? And we see that due to Ning Tian's music all those beasts start becoming calm, because Ning Tian has taken them under his control. And Ning Tian calls them towards him, and one of those tiger beasts goes to Ning Tian, and seeing this the disciple gets surprised. And he is speaking to Ning Tian, Azure Tiger, rank 2 demonic beast. And Ning Tian says to that tiger, speak, why did you come out of the Dark Wind Mountain Range? And he starts telling the tiger beast, but Ning Tian does not understand anything, and so he uses another power, and he says to the tiger beast, take me inside the Dark Wind Mountain Range and show me what scared you so much. And Ning Tian takes the tiger under his control. Then the tiger beast brings Ning Tian to a deep ditch, from which a lot of demonic energy is coming out. And seeing this, he knows that there is a coffin in front of it. And then a gate opens. And a lot of energy starts coming out from inside it. And seeing this the disciple is very surprised, and he is saying, when heavenly phenomena occur, there must be great treasures. Then Ning Tian starts running downwards and he is saying, I'll go down and take a look. You wait here. But the disciple says, Patriarch, should we go back and report to the Empress first? But Ning Tian does not listen to him, and he directly jumps into the ditch. And he starts going downwards very fast, and a lot of demonic energy is coming out from inside. Then we see that something is coming towards Ning Tian. And Ning Tian dodges that thing. And we see that a female snake has come to the place, and she is talking to Ning Tian, haha, I didn't expect the first to come, to be such a handsome little brother. And seeing her Ning Tian says to the system, do you know what this creature is? So the system tells Ning Tian, based on system detection, this should be a guardian beast of at least rank 7 or higher. And after listening to the system, Ning Tian is thinking about the guardian snake, a guardian beast above the Saint Emperor realm. I wonder if my beast taming music will work on her. No matter, I'll just give it a shot. And Ning Tian attacks her, but the guardian snake stops his attack very easily, and she is telling Ning Tian, making a move right upon meeting. I wasn't ready yet. And after saying this, the guardian snake attacks Ning Tian, and Ning Tian is able to dodge her attack with great difficulty. And when Ning Tian is in the air, he is thinking, I'm no match. I need to make her lower her guard and then find a way to escape. And the guardian snake again attacks Ning Tian, and this time she attacks with her tail and says to Ning Tian, is that so? I've guarded this tomb for 20 years. And the guardian snake's attack hits him, and the guardian snake catches Ning Tian with her tail and tells him, I've been waiting for the tomb to open, and it's too much of a coincidence that you show up right as it does. Little brother, since we're so fated, let me take good care of you. And just as the guardian snake is about to eat Ning Tian, a golden colored energy is seen shining from the sky. And we see that a huge spiritual sword hits that spot from the sky, due to which Ning Tian is saved from the guardian snake's tail, and Luo Wuching comes to that place. And on seeing Luo Wuching, the guardian snake is very surprised that how an immortal emperor has come to this place. And Ning Tian's wife has come here. Then the guardian snake says to Ningtian, "Oh, little brother, your wife arrived. You should watch closely." And we see that Luo Wuching gets angry at the guardian snake and she says, "A mere rank 7 demonic beast dares to cause trouble." And the guardian snake says to Luo Wuching, "Don't worry, this one isn't interested in your husband." But then Luo Wuching attacks the guardian snake and she thinks, "Is she that easy to defeat?" Then the guardian snake is killed. And Ningtian comes to Luo Wuching and says to her, "Is this a barrier?" And they both start going ahead. Then there's a palace in front of them, seeing what Ningtian is saying. For a high rank guardian demonic beast turning into a barrier automatically. And Luo Wuching says to Ningtian, "Looks like it's a tomb of the level of at least the celestial or immortal emperor." And then some people come to that place, and one of them is saying, "Empress is indeed resourceful. Long time no see." And seeing that man, Ningtian says, "What's with that guy again?" And Luo Wuching is saying, "Although this place belongs to the heavenly demonic sect, it's also in the Dongxing Kingdom's region. It's a phenomenon, so naturally the king would appear." And the king says to Luo Wuching, "Empress, although the celestial tomb is not as good as the great emperors who can shake the whole heavenly spiritual domain, many sects and factions would be coming this way." And Luo Wuching says to the king, "What are you implying, king?" So the king says, "In 10 days, the barrier will dissipate and the tomb will be opened. I wish to cooperate with the heavenly demonic sect." And on hearing this, both Ningtian and Luo Wuching get surprised. Then Luo Wuching says to the king, "What cooperation?" So the king says, "Naturally, we'll help each other. When the time comes, our people will enter the tomb together. The Dongxing Kingdom doesn't desire the treasures in the tomb. We only want the heavenly demonic sect to help us find one thing." And Luo Wuching is asking the king, "What is it?" So king shows herb and he says, "The pure clear herb. It can help with my son's injuries. This herb only grows in places with the most energy. So it might be in this tomb." And Ningtian says to the king has so many talented people under him. Why would you need the cooperation of our sect? And on hearing this, the king becomes happy and he is saying, "There's unwritten understanding in the heavenly spiritual domain. For the purpose of balancing the great powers, if not for the great emperor's tomb, someone in the immortal emperor realm cannot get involved. My disciples aren't equipped to fight the disciples of other forces either." And Ningtian is smiling and thinking, on the day the tomb opens, all major sects will send their people. There's no way fights can be avoided. You're simply trying to use our sect enemy's attention." But then Ningtian says to the king, "King Lin, I cannot help your son. On the day my wife and I got married, there's no courtesy or proper etiquette in sight shown to us. With Taoist heart as weak as tofu, there was no word or skill. I advise you to return and reconsider, King Lin." And on hearing Ningtian's words, the king probably gets angry. And we see the king's friends, who are thinking, the heavenly demonic sect's patriarch is so bold to scold the king like that. The matter of the holy son of the king is a sore spot for him. And Ningtian is saying to the king, "Well, as long as you lose your temper, no way we would cooperate." But the king controls his anger and laughingly tells Ningtian, "Is the patriarch worried about the previous incident that damaged the peace between the two parties? It's true that my child was ignorant and offended the empress and patriarch. On behalf of my son, I ask for your forgiveness." And hearing such things from the king, both Ningtian and Luo Wuching get shocked. The king's friends are also shocked. But they all together apologize to Ningtian, and Ningtian is thinking, he responded so efficiently, "You really cannot fight with someone who's smiling at you. In that case, we have to find another way." And Luo Wuching tells Ningtian, "No need to apologize, king. I'm not interested in this cooperation offer." Then the king shouts and says, "What? But I, the king of Dongxing, is being so sincere." And Luo Wuching says to the king, "Our heavenly demonic sect is fully capable of handling this on our own. We don't need to cooperate with others. Others would slow us down." And the king starts leaving from this place. But while leaving, he says to Luo Wuching, "Sure. It looks like your sect is going to be our enemy. Don't regret this later, Luo Wuching." At the same time, the king is thinking, "At first, I was a bit hesitant about the cooperation sent by the Righteous Alliance. Now, it looks like we must use their power to teach that arrogant couple a lesson." And the king and his friends leave from this place. And Ningtian is watching them go, and he is saying, "You want to freeload? No way." And then Luo Wuching says to Ningtian, "Actually, you don't want to cooperate with him, right? You just thought it might be hard for me to handle it, and you didn't want us to offend him head on." And Ningtian says, "You see right through me, my wife." And then Luo Wuching comes close to Ningtian and says to him, "If you want to say no, just say it. No need to beat around the bush. I'm supporting you after all." Then Ningtian lifts Luo Wuching in his arms and says to her, "I'm so touched by your gesture. So as your husband, I will reward you well." And after this, the scene shifts, and we see that Ningtian and Luo Wuching are sitting at one place. And Luo Wuching is asking Ningtian, "How did you know there was a hot spring here?" So Ningtian tells, "I accidentally saw it when jumping down from the mountain. When I was in the spring before, I thought that I should totally come back with you. Although it's not an immortal spring, it's still a wonderful experience." And Luo Wuching says to Ningtian, "I asked you to go there to strengthen your physique, not make you think of such things." And saying this, she clings to Ningtian, and Ningtian says to Luo Wuching, "What? Does my wife think I'm not strong enough now?" And Luo Wuching says to Ningtian, "By the way, stay here for a few days, until the opening of the tomb. I will send the Supreme Elder to assist you." And Ningtian says, "Me? Then what about you, wife?" Although the king had ill intentions, he's right. And Luo Wuching says, "If it's not the great emperor's tomb, it's the rule of the heavenly spiritual domain that immortal emperors cannot get involved, so..." And Ningtian says to Luo Wuching, "I get it, don't worry. I will make sure our sect is the one on the top." And on hearing this, Luo Wuching says thank you to Ningtian. And Ningtian says to Luo Wuching, "Then, my wife needs to show some sincerity. There's still a few days before the tomb opens." And on hearing this, Luo Wuching is a little surprised, and she asks Ningtian, "What do you mean?" So Ningtian makes Luo Wuching lie down on the ground and says to her, I mean that your husband is a bit ravenous right now and needs to eat something to have the strength to go exploring. And hearing this, Luo Wuching says to Ning Tian, then, let's see. And Ning Tian is also very surprised to hear this, and Luo Wuching further says to Ning Tian, how hungry are you really? And after this part ends. And what happened after this, you must know that. This part begins. And we see that many people have come to this place. And the barrier of this place is broken. And a man is asking, where did that monster run off? And then that snake girl comes out, and she says, damn humans, I didn't think that in just 10 days that this horrible stench would appear the moment the barrier was broken. And then many people start attacking that snake girl together. And we see that many elders have come to that place. And all of them are attacking that snake girl together. And one of those elders is saying, use more force. We'll be ripping that demonic snake to shred today. And he is Righteous Alliance Hachi Sect Elder Tian Fong. And due to the combined attack of all of them, that snake girl is defeated, and is killed. Then all the elders come down, and one of the female elders says, why do we have to kill her? We can seal her. Then another elder says, the Righteous Alliance has always eradicated such monsters from the very root. Does the Yaoqi land wish to go against the Righteous Alliance? Then we see another elder who says, good, now that the monster guarding the tomb is dead, we should quickly enter and look for the treasure. And he is Tianbao Holy Land leader. And the saint says, Elder Qin Lin, this is in the area of influence of the heavenly demonic sect, but no one from their side has come yet. Should we wait? And the elder says, these heavenly demonic people, they must have known our Righteous Alliance was coming here, so they got scared and hid like a turtle. But then someone's voice starts echoing in that place, and he is saying, I'm sorry, but I'll have to disappoint you. And all the elders are surprised to hear that voice. Then when the saint hears that voice, she recognizes whose voice it is. And we see that the Supreme Elder and Ning Tian have come to that place.
And Ning Tian is saying, the heavenly demonic sect is naturally here, even more, it's me. And all the disciples are surprised to see Ning Tian, and the saint is thinking, I knew it, of course he would come. Then the disciples start talking and they are saying, is this the man who's once a handyman for the heavenly demonic sect, became the Empress husband, and then broke the hearts of many holy sons with simply his words? Did you know, I heard that he escaped 3 times while being chased by 2 powerful immortal Emperor realm experts too. And the second disciple says 3 times? How is that even possible? And the elders are listening to all those disciples. Then Ning Tian comes in front of them and says to the elders, with no tigers in the mountain, the monkeys are reigning. Since when is the Righteous Alliance strolling through the lands of the heavenly demonic sect? And after listening to Ning Tian, the elder in front of him gets angry and says to Ning Tian, a mere Earth King realm brat, how dare you mock the Righteous Alliance? I'll teach you a lesson. But the Supreme Elder comes in front of Ning Tian and says, Hachi Elder, you dare to teach us? And looking at the Supreme Elder, the other elder says, the Supreme Elder of the heavenly demonic sect is stronger than us, don't act rashly. Then the elder tells his companions, since we'll be exploring the tomb together, we should help each other and not antagonize each other. Since the heavenly demonic sect has also arrived, let's go together. And we see Ning Tian, who is teasing the elder. And the elder is getting angry, and he is thinking, you brat, if you fall into my hands I'll beat you up. Then Ning Tian is asking the saint, and those sparkling guys are? Then the saint tells Ning Tian, over there are the Tianbao Holy Land Saints Jin Bao Dao and their holy son Zhu Yuan Bao. Next to the holy son is Heaven Soaring Sect's Old Void Shadow. And Ning Tian says, I have heard of the Heaven Soaring Sect, but this is my first time hearing about this Tianbao Holy Land. Are they really rich or something? And the saint says to Ning Tian, Patriarch, you must be joking. By the way, the Righteous Alliance is known to be narrow-minded. Just now you embarrassed them in front of an audience, you must be careful later. And Ning Tian says to the saint, thank you for the warning, saint. I'll be fine. Then they go forward towards the door. And the elder is staring at Ning Tian. Then the elder says to the man in front of Ning Tian, you, go push the door open. And the man is surprised to hear this and he says to the elder, me? There must be a trap behind the door though. But the elder starts staring at him and says to him, so, what about it? I remember you're from an ancient martial arts sect. Since you're here to hunt for treasures you have to work to get it. And Ning Tian is thinking, this old man just wants to use the small sects like us as cannon fodder. If I refuse, they will definitely not let it go. Then that man goes in front, and tries to open that big door. And all the people are watching him from behind. But then demonic energy starts coming out from that door, and seeing that the man starts screaming, and a lot of demonic energy starts coming out from inside the door. But that door opens and seeing this the man becomes very happy. But then Ning Tian says, wait, don't move. Something is. And we see that something comes out from inside that door and a direct hit falls on the man's face. Due to which that man falls on the ground. And seeing this all the people get scared, and they are saying, a ghost. It's a ghost. We must have disturbed the celestial soul in the tomb, he's seeking revenge. But then the elder tells those disciples, shut up. Don't confuse people with your lies. It's not surprising there would be traps in the tomb. And that disciple says, but there's no weapons or formations. And then Ning Tian hears the sound, after hearing what he is saying, the sound of a flute. And as soon as an elder hears Ning Tian's words, he is asking Ning Tian, how can there be any sounds of a flute here? So many of us didn't hear it, but you did? And the saint says, although the legendary patriarch has done many amazing things, in the end, he's still an Earth King realm cultivator. And the elder says, right, how could he notice something the strongest couldn't detect? And the saint says, the patriarch's correct, there's indeed a sound of a flute. It's the sound of the flute of a killing sound formation. And hearing this, the elder is very surprised that there is a killing sound formation in front of him. And the saint tells all of them, I have read in ancient text that the formation is extremely violent. Once its mechanism is triggered, it doesn't stop unless the intruder dies or the energy within it is used up. And listening to the saint's words, the disciples are saying, the Yaoqi saint has great achievements when it comes to the Tao of music, she must be correct. And the other disciple says, Ning Tian actually heard the sound of a flute. Could it be that he has studied the Tao of music? Another disciple says he's worthy of being called the legendary patriarch, he's quite something. And the elder says that man was killed after pushing the stone gates, so the mechanist must be on the gates. That killing sound formation is very powerful. How can we destroy it and enter the tomb then? Then the saint tells all of them, don't worry, everyone. The Yaoqi Holy Land has sound-breaking art. I just need a sufficient amount of aura. One more person will have to cooperate with me to perform the art. And the saint points towards Ningtian. Then the elder says, who knows what else is hiding in that tomb? Could it be its energy absorption? And the second elder says, yes, to break the formation, as long as someone is able to continuously giving their energy to the formation, it will break without force. So Ningtian says to that elder, huh? So the Righteous Alliance is thinking of risking human lives to enter. So the elder says to Ningtian, what's the big deal? If you've come here, it's because you want to grasp this opportunity. Instead of holding back the others, the ones with not enough power should help us advance. But Ningtian says to the elderly man, what about you then? You don't look like you have long to live. Why don't you stop wasting resources and take the lead by helping us advance? And after listening to Ningtian, elder gets angry and angrily tells Ningtian, what did you say, you brat? Then the saint says, there's no point in arguing, the sound-breaking art doesn't require the energy of many. If the Righteous Alliance doesn't mind, I will help open the gates. And on hearing this, the other elder starts getting angry. But the elder behind him says, whatever, the tomb is more important. We can open the gates. But isn't it too foolish for the saint to ask him to help? As far as I know, he's a weird disciple of the Earth King realm. How can he help you in the Tao of music? And Ningtian says, yes, just because you don't know how to do it doesn't mean others don't. Then the saint says to Ningtian, patriarch, please reach out your hand, I will pass on to you the sound-breaking art. And Ningtian says yes to the saint. But the saint starts imagining something, and she is thinking, last time at the Immortal Spring, the patriarch and the Queen Mother of the West played a piece together, it's remarkable. I have been waiting for this chance to experience it as well. And Ningtian moves his hand forward and the saint also moves her hand forward. Then the saint passed the art of breaking the sound-breaking formation to Ningtian. And the system tells Ningtian, detection of the host absorbing the sound-breaking art, tenfold comprehension activated. Comprehension complete, and Ningtian is now passing that art he understands. And Ningtian tells the saint, so, this is the sound-breaking art. Saint, let's begin. And the saint is surprised and asks Ningtian, you're already done? And when they see this disciple, they all get very shocked. And they are talking, he was actually able to comprehend the sound-breaking art in a minute. And the other disciple says, is he simply bragging? And a disciple says, it would be fun if that was the case. Then the elder says, wait, I have never seen anyone comprehend such art so fast. Are you pretending to save face, brat? And the other elder says, Yaoqi Saint, we can't leave our lives in the hands of this foolish boy. But Ningtian says to both those elders, haha, I didn't expect the people of the Righteous Alliance to cherish their lives so deeply. Don't worry, two little frogs, and take a good look at what it means when people say there's always a bigger person. Then the saint takes out the music instrument and says to Ningtian, if the patriarch doesn't have his instrument on him, here's mine. And Ningtian takes the saint's musical instrument, and he says to the saint, thank you, saint. It's really good, much better than my Guqin. Ningtian is thinking, it would be great if I could get a Tao of music spiritual weapon someday. And the saint takes out the flute, and she goes close to Ningtian. And Ningtian is asking the saint if she is fine? So the saint tells him that yes, I am fine. Then the saint starts feeling something and she is thinking, my musical instrument is spiritually connected to me. Touching the Guqin like this is like touching my body. And the saint says to Ningtian, patriarch, let's begin. Then now all the elders together start giving their spiritual energy to the saint and Ningtian. And we see that demonic energy is still coming out from that door. And as soon as that door opens, Ningtian and the saint start playing the sound-breaking art. And a lot of spiritual energy is coming out of their instruments. And then a skeleton soldier comes out from the front, who has a sword in his hand and he is coming to attack the saint and Ningtian. And seeing him the saint is thinking, he fought back with just a single note. I didn't think the patriarch's Tao of music was that advanced. And Ningtian is also playing his instrument, and seeing both of them, both the elders are very shocked, and they are thinking, he was actually that good, the patriarch of the heavenly demonic sect shouldn't be underestimated. And then Ningtian gets a reward from the system, and the system tells Ningtian, you shocked everyone around you, scale card earned, treasure hunt card. And Ningtian says to the saint, saint, follow along. And now both of them are playing fast, due to which a dangerous spiritual energy comes out, which directly destroys that skeleton soldier. And we look inside, where there is Kalinga flute formation, and the spiritual energy is going directly towards those statues, and due to the spiritual energy, both those statues get destroyed and that formation breaks. And Ningtian becomes happy seeing this, and he says to the saint, thank you, saint. Your Guqin was so easy and comfortable to use. But the saint is imagining about Ningtian, and she starts blushing. And blushing she says to Ningtian, no need to thank me, I'm happy it's satisfactory, patriarch. And seeing this, Ningtian gets a little confused that why is the saint behaving like this. But then we see that all the elders and all the disciples together start going inside the door. And the elder is saying, now that the formation has been broken, it's time to go. Then they all reach inside. And the door also closes. And Ningtian is saying to them, let's be careful. And as soon as they go forward, there are very big statues of them in front, whose eyes are red in color, and are singing. Seeing this, all the disciples are very surprised. And some disciples are saying, hey, are these stone statues moving? Don't scare me, how can a stone move? And the Supreme Elder says to Ningtian, patriarch, be careful. Something's off about these stone statues. So Ningtian says, really? I don't think there's anything off. So, there's no problem. And then all those statues start moving. And those statues are about to attack the disciples. and seeing this a disciple says, the stone statue came to life. Run away quickly. And some disciples escape from the attack of those statues, but some disciples get killed right there. But then they start attacking those statues, but their attack is not having any effect on those statues. And those statues are about to attack those disciples again, and it attacks a girl. And that girl is very scared. But then Ning Tian comes in front of her, and is releasing his spiritual energy, and his system tells Ning Tian, Spirit Destruction skill is being activated. Spirit Destruction skill is successfully activated. And Ning Tian attacks the statue, and Ning Tian's attack is very dangerous, due to which the statue starts breaking, seeing which Ning Tian becomes happy, and that girl is very scared, but now she is saved. And Ning Tian is asking that girl what happened, are you okay? So the girl says yes to him, and thanks Ning Tian. And Ning Tian is thinking, looking at the things around, as expected, the stone statue moved because of the spirit that's engraved into it. And the spirit is the best nutrient for the spirit pearl. Since such a great gift has been offered to me so nicely, it would be rude to refuse it. And Ning Tian again attacks those statues, and destroys them very easily. And seeing this, a man says, the heavenly demonic sex patriarch. He's that strong? Then we see another man, who is saying, there are so many of us here, but none of us are as good as the heavenly demonic sex patriarch, who's only in the Earth King realm. And his other companion says, the stone armor of these statues is extraordinary. It's something even we would find hard to handle. He's indeed a patriarch. And the female disciples go crazy for Ning Tian after seeing his strength. And she is saying, look at the patriarch dealing with the enemy with ease, he's so cool. He handled these stone statues without breaking a sweat. And Ning Tian starts attacking those statues very fast, seeing which a man gets very angry, and he is saying, Ning Tian, sooner or later, I, Lin Xiaoyao, will make sure you die a miserable death. And the system says to Ning Tian, you shocked the geniuses surrounding you and made them more motivated to fight, 5,000 cultivation aura earned. And Ning Tian is thinking, I'm overflowing with aura, I'm ready to break through. And Ning Tian says to the Supreme Elder, guard me. And Ning Tian sits at that place and starts cultivating, seeing which all the elders are surprised. And one elder is saying, what's he doing? And the other elder says he must have exhausted his aura. Another elder says when in the tomb, having no aura will be your doom. If you're exhausted, it's over. And Ning Tian is sitting comfortably at that place and absorbing spiritual energy, and he is about to break through. And as soon as one elder sees that Ning Tian has spiritual vision, he gets very surprised and the other elder is saying, he's breaking through right now. And the female disciple is saying, I knew it. The patriarch is so full of energy, he cannot ever get exhausted. And the other female disciple says, yes, after all, Patriarch Ning Tian is the most capable man. And then Ning Tian gets a notification from the system, and the system says, congratulations to the host for breaking through, current 4-star Earth King realm reached. You shocked everyone, one more comprehension point in the God's record. Earned. Current comprehension level of the God's record, 40%, slight increase of progression. And Ning Tian is thinking 40%? Another 10%, and it will enter the stage of high proficiency which will help me open more spiritual veins. Then Ning Tian says to the Supreme Elder, right ahead must be the main hall, let's go. And as soon as they all go ahead, there's a skeleton in front of them, who is sitting on a throne. And some people are talking, is this the main hall? It's bigger than the last one, whose tomb is it? And Ning Tian picks up a technique, and is looking at it, and he is saying, just look around and you're able to find techniques of a high level. The hall is full of top quality spiritual weapons too. The owner of this tomb is very wealthy. And everyone is very happy to see all those treasures, and they are saying, ha ha ha, it's truly a treasure trove, with all these treasures, we're now invincible. But then we see that the eyes of that skeleton start to glow red, and Ning Tian and Supreme Elder feel this thing, and Supreme Elder is not able to understand what that thing was. And Ning Tian tells the Supreme Elder, it's nothing. Maybe it's just me being too cautious. And the Supreme Elder is looking at that skeleton, and he is saying, the one on the throne must be the owner. Aren't tombs meant to be a place where someone is buried? Why is he sitting down? And Ning Tian says, maybe it's an obsession of his, he's unwilling to perish. Then a man starts going towards that skeleton. Seeing him going, Ning Tian says to that man, the dead should be respected, the first sword sex shouldn't interrupt him, right? And that man says to Ning Tian, ha, I didn't expect the heavenly demonic sex patriarch to be a coward, you're even afraid of the dead. The owner of the tomb is wearing such nice things on him, for example, the ring he's wearing even if he's already dead, it's definitely an immortal weapon, and the man is about to cut off the skeleton's hand, but then the skeleton wakes up, and he grabs the man's face. And the man is screaming very loudly. And we see that the skeleton is fully awake, and he stands up.